Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy. So I'm in Las Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show, and I can tell you that this is every bit as crazy and overwhelming as you might expect it to be. I mean, it is absolutely nuts here. There's something like 180,000 attendees. I mean, it's extraordinary. The city of Las Vegas is dominated by this. And listen, over the next couple of minutes, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and give you a couple of snapshots from things I saw at the show. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure there's an organizing principle here. It's just me wandering around, seeing stuff that kind of grabs my attention. Maybe by the end of it, I'll think there's an organizing principle. But one of the things I can promise you is this. Next week on Morning Newsbeat, we're going to have a new Retail Tomorrow podcast that we're going to be taping here that's going to try and put a lot of this into some sort of context and try and draw some conclusions from what a number of us have seen and what a number of us are thinking. So anyway, come with me as I wander the show floor. It's going to be a really interesting experience.
You want to give me like
So I'm at the booth of a company called Meituan, which is a Chinese food delivery company. They make millions of deliveries a day in mainland China for both retailers and fast food restaurants, various kinds of restaurants. But one of the things they've recognized is that the delivery world is changing. So in fact, one of the things they have, their demo going here, is this autonomous vehicle, right? They can make food deliveries. Doesn't have to be anybody driving it. Just pulls up to your house, opens up, and you can get your products out. They even have a smaller version of this that can just works indoors, because so in office complexes can deliver products really easily. And in addition to that, they have over here, they have a drone, right? So they have a drone. And they're not using it a lot yet, it's just a prototype, but they recognize that the world is changing. By the way, it was interesting to notice that while I was at the Meituan booth, so was somebody from Kroger, okay? It is a measure of how far Walmart has come, especially since its acquisition of Jet, that it's exhibiting here at CES and positioning itself as a technology company, not just a retailer. Their pitch is they are a connected content partner, providing an end-to-end e-commerce platform. And that's incredibly important. I think it's something a lot of retailers have to do. Instead of thinking of themselves in traditional ways as retailers, they have to think of themselves as technology companies, not just traditional retailers. This serves them both in terms of how they connect with consumers, but how they connect with all the different partners that they're going to have in business in this current environment if they're going to be able to succeed. If Walmart is sort of redefining itself as a technology company, in part it has to be because that's exactly what Alibaba is doing. And they're not reshaping themselves, that's what they are. Their whole pitch here is that they are redefining, reimagining, and reshaping global commerce. And that is a reality, it is a fact of life that every retailer has to deal with. Whether you're big or whether you're small, you have to understand that the realities of the marketplace are changing. Companies like Alibaba, like Walmart, like Amazon are changing so many of the rules. We saw that just this week with the announcement by Microsoft and Kroger about their new alliance. Companies have to understand that they need to be paying attention to these new rules so they can adapt to them. They maybe follow their own rules, these rules, or they can actually create rules of their own that give them a compelling and differential advantage. But the one thing you can't do, you can't ignore them. Okay, so if there was one organization I never expected to see at CES, it would have been the U.S. Postal Service. But here they are. Big booth, great location, selling informed delivery. I had a great conversation with a woman who spent like 16, 18 years as a mail carrier. Then she ended up being a local postmaster, and now she's in sales, pitching to businesses all the different kinds of technologies that the post office is going to be able to make available that's going to keep them up to date and keep them relevant. I got to say, this is a long way from the pissed off mail carrier that I have who comes down my street every day. Not surprisingly, one of the things you see a lot of here are car companies, right? Because one of the things that's a major trend is the idea of integrating a lot of this smart technology into automobiles. Automobiles for the moment we're still driving, but that at some point we won't be anymore, or at least a lot of us won't be anymore. And I thought it was interesting. And you know, you've got Ford here, you've got Toyota, you've got Nissan, BMW, all the big guys are here talking about their innovations. But it was interesting, I did find myself at one point listening to a presentation, happened to be from a Ford representative, just talking about all the innovations they have, all the things, technologies they're building into their cars that are going to make them better, that are going to make them safer, going to make them more dependable, going to make them smarter. And I couldn't help wonder to myself, and some of this, by the way, is available now, but I couldn't help wonder, about the antiquated, almost obsolete dealer network that a lot of these companies have. They're still selling cars using a very old business model. Listen, I'm old enough that I've bought and leased a lot of cars in my life. And we've got my kids and my wife, they've got some new cars recently. And the people you deal with at a lot of these dealerships, they're not thinking like 21st century companies. They're dealing with an old business model. It's a really interesting notion because you've got technology and that's really important, but it's also important for these companies to understand that the human factor is incredibly important. And if they can't fix that part of their culture, it could serve to undermine all the technological advances and all the technological investments that they're making. Okay, this is kind of interesting. This thing behind me, that is not a minivan, it's not a car. Panasonic is pitching it as an autonomous living space. It's got no place to drive, it's got these big plush chairs, it's got like a concert hall in there, it's like a family room that goes on the road. It's really kind of interesting. They don't have a kitchen in there yet, but who's to say you couldn't be delivering groceries to an autonomous living vehicle where people are going to make something, cook it up in the microwave or some futuristic sort of cooking device, and it's all going to be traveling. Go figure. They're actually taking pre-orders for the first electric Harley Davidson. I don't know what Steve McQueen would think, but I think it's kind of cool. So I know I should be here at CES and I should be looking at, the craziest, the wildest, the Star Trek type innovations that are going to totally change the world. But I'm going to tell you something. There is nothing I have seen here that makes me happier than seeing this particular booth for something called the Breadbot, where they actually have technology that can make fresh bread automatically in the front of stores, allowing people to be able to, they make various different kinds. You're watching it being baked, you're smelling it being baked, and then you can order it using a smart pad. It comes right out, and you've got fresh bread. If there's one thing that I've probably been saying since before I started Morning Newsbeat, it's I don't understand why more stores aren't baking fresh bread, so when you walk in the store, it smells great, right? And you get hungry. This actually provides some of that. It uses technology to provide some of that. It's not like you need a lot of bakers. Now, here's the deal. Is the bread like Dorothy Lane Market bread? Is that good? No. But it's pretty tasty, and it's warm, and it just makes you feel good inside, and the smell is terrific. This is my idea of technology, the kind of technology that gives me fresh bread on a regular basis. I think that's what people have to do if they're gonna, turn stores into some kind of a compelling experience that people want to actually go to and not just, sit on their couches or sit at their desks and sit at their laptops or use their mobile phones and not go to the store. I think that's what they have to do. Anyway, that has been a few clips from the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, 2019. Wait a minute, I had another thought. So after I wrapped up my FaceTime commentary, I was taking a walk. It's a nice evening here in Las Vegas, and I was thinking about CES. And it occurred to me that when I was thinking especially about the Breadbot, that the kinds of technologies that are really going to work in retail, I think, are the technologies that put us in touch with our humanity, not that take us away from our humanity. That's the great thing about the Breadbot, right? It is technology, but it gives us something that is sensory, that puts us in touch with something deeper that has nothing to do with machines. And I think that's going to be really important down the road. I think the retailers who only focus on technology for the sake of technology will be the ones that maybe won't be as successful as those that understand that when technology makes it possible for us to be more human, right? to do the things that are really important, right? If I don't go shopping because I'm out with my kids, if I don't go shopping because I'm coaching Little League, if I don't go shopping because I'm taking my wife to dinner, these are all good things. And I think that's really, really important. So I think that that's something, especially for, by the way, for retailers who may not be able to afford all this technology. They're the ones who have to say, okay, how do we help people focus on the things that are really important? Let's not focus on the negatives of not having technology. Let's focus on the positives of being human, of being the best that we can be. So, you know, having spent some time at CES and looking at a lot of different technologies in the convention, that's what I'm thinking today. If there's a unifying principle, and I'm not sure when I started this, I wasn't sure there was one. If there's a unifying principle to me, it's that we have to find technologies that make us better, not make us less. Anyway, that's really what's on my mind this morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.